Well, hello there, darlings. Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, here to tickle your terror bone. We all have those sweet little memories from when we were just tiny terrors, don't we? The smell of freshly baked cookies, the thrill of riding a bike without training wheels, the warm hug of a beloved teddy bear. But what about the other memories? The ones that slither out from the dusty corners of your mind late at night. The ones that make the hairs on your arms stand up and do a little tango. These aren't the memories that make you smile. Oh no. These are the ones that make you check under the bed just one more time. Tonight, we're going to take a little trip down a very dark memory lane. We're going to revisit those moments that seemed so innocent at first, but left a permanent, chilling mark on our little souls. Think of it as a scrapbook, but instead of happy family photos, it's filled with wide-eyed fear and questions that were never answered. Let's begin our little show, shall we? Unpleasant dreams, darlings. It was my 7th birthday party. Mom and Dad went all out. We had a bouncy castle in the backyard, a mountain of presents wrapped in shiny paper, and a cake shaped like a rainbow. All my friends from school were there, and everything was perfect. The highlight of the party was supposed to be the clown. Mom had found his flyer tacked to a pole downtown. It had a picture of a smiling clown named Giggles, promising magic tricks, balloon animals, and endless fun for everyone. When the doorbell rang, I was so excited I could barely stand still. But the man who stood on our porch didn't look like the picture. He was tall and thin, and his smile didn't seem to reach his eyes. His face was painted stark white, but the paint was cracking around his mouth and forehead. The red smile was painted on a little too wide, stretching almost to his ears. His rainbow wig was slightly crooked, showing a bit of greasy dark hair underneath. He wasn't carrying a big bag of props, just a single small black suitcase. He introduced himself as Giggles, but his voice was low and raspy, not cheerful at all. My friends didn't seem to notice. They gathered around him in the living room, buzzing with anticipation. My dad introduced him, and everyone clapped. Giggles just stood there for a moment, slowly looking at each of us with his dark, unblinking eyes. He just set his small black suitcase on the floor and slowly undid the latches. The silence felt heavy, and I remember a strange, cold feeling creeping up my spine, even though it was a warm day. Finally, with a soft click, the latches came undone. He opened the lid, but he angled it so none of us could see what was inside. He just stared down into it for a long, long time. A strange, faint smell, like old pennies and damp earth, drifted out. My friends started to fidget, their excitement turning into confusion. Giggles reached into his black suitcase and pulled out a single white handkerchief. He held it up between his thumb and forefinger, letting it dangle in the silent room. "Watch," he whispered, and the words seemed to hang in the air. He made a fist with his other hand and slowly began to stuff the handkerchief into it. He pushed and pushed until the whole thing had disappeared. But he didn't do the reveal. He held it out towards us. A single drop of something dark red dripped from between his knuckles and landed on my mom's beige carpet. He stared at the spot and his painted smile twitched. "Oops," he said, but he didn't sound sorry. He sounded pleased. Next, he reached back into the suitcase. This time, he pulled out a set of old, tarnished silver bells on a leather strap. He held them up to his ear as if listening to something only he could hear. "They're telling secrets," he murmured to himself. "Secrets about all of you." He opened his eyes and looked directly at me. "They say you broke your mother's favorite vase last week, Lily, and you blamed it on the cat." He then pointed the bells at another one of my friends, a boy named Mark. "And you," the clown rasped. "You took $1 from your father's wallet this morning." One by one, he went around the room, revealing small secret misdeeds for half of the kids there. He was just stating facts in his low, gravelly voice, and the bells remained perfectly silent. The laughter was long gone. Some of my friends were starting to cry quietly. My dad, finally realizing something was very wrong, stood up. "All right, I think that's enough. The kids are getting upset. The show's over." Giggles turned his head slowly. "Not yet," he hissed. "There's time for one final trick. My very best one." He reached in one last time and pulled out a small wooden marionette. It looked old, paint chipped, clothes faded, but the horrifying thing was that it looked exactly like me. The same long brown hair, the same blue dress, even a tiny painted-on mole above its lip, just like mine. "For the birthday girl," he said, his voice a low growl. I was frozen in my chair. As he got closer, he started to hum a strange, tuneless melody. A discordant, creepy little song that made my teeth ache. He dangled the puppet right in front of my face. Its little painted eyes seemed to stare right into me. Every year on your birthday, he whispered so only I could hear, she will get a little older, just like you, and she will remember everything. He dropped the puppet into my lap, cold and heavy. My mom screamed and my dad lunged, dragging the clown toward the door. Giggles didn't fight back. He let himself be pushed out, laughing a low, rattling laugh the whole time. The last I saw was his pale, smiling face in the window before the door slammed and locked. That night, I threw the puppet in the trash. But the next morning, on my birthday, it was on my nightstand. Every year since, I find it somewhere in my room. It looks a little older each time, and sometimes I swear I can hear it humming that awful tune. When I was 8, a new family moved into the house next door. It had been empty for as long as I could remember, and I was excited to finally have someone to play with. Our houses were really close together, and my bedroom window faced one of their upstairs windows directly. I watched the moving trucks come and go. I saw a man and a woman, but I never saw any kids. One afternoon, the curtains across from mine twitched. A face peered out. It was a boy about my age. Pale skin, big dark eyes, messy black hair. He didn't smile or wave, he just watched me. I gave him a small wave. He didn't wave back. Every day after school, I'd go to my room, and he'd be there, standing at his window, motionless, always in the same dark blue shirt. I tried waving again. I even held up a drawing of a friendly monster. He showed no reaction at all, just that constant, silent, unblinking stare. It started to feel less like shyness and more like something unsettling. I told my mom. She said to introduce myself. I rang their doorbell. The woman opened the door. She looked tired. "Can I help you?" she asked. I asked if her son could come out and play. Her face changed, confused, sad. "My son? Oh, honey, my son passed away last year. We moved here to try and start over." I stood frozen. Passed away? It didn't make sense. I saw him every day in the upstairs window. He watches me. Her sad expression hardened. She glanced toward my window, then her own. A flicker of fear crossed her face, then she masked it. "You must be mistaken," she said, clipped and cold. "There's no one up there. That room is empty. We use it for storage. Please don't come back here." She shut the door. I ran to my room. For the first time in weeks, the curtains were drawn. The window was blank and empty. Somehow it felt worse. That night I tossed and turned. I crept to my window, peeling back my curtain just a tiny bit. Then I saw it. A thin line of light appeared at the bottom of his curtains, as if a lamp had turned on. A shadow moved. A small hand reached up and pulled the curtains apart just enough. In that gap, I saw an eye. One single dark eye staring directly back at me. It wasn't my imagination. He was there, and he knew I was watching. The next few days were torture. I avoided my room, but I could feel his gaze. One evening, my mom called me into the kitchen. "Look what our new neighbor brought over," she said. A small, neatly wrapped box with a simple white ribbon. "She's sorry for being rude," Mom said. "She hopes you'll like this. It was her son's favorite." I untied the ribbon. Inside, on faded tissue paper, an old-fashioned walkie-talkie. Black plastic, long silver antenna, worn corners, little scratches. I should have felt relieved. I didn't. That night, I put the walkie-talkie on my dresser, as far from my bed as I could. The house was quiet, and I was just drifting off when a sound crackled through the darkness. Static. It was coming from the walkie-talkie. The static hissed for a few seconds. Then a faint, whispery voice of a child came through. It said, "I can see you." My parents sent me to Camp Whispering Pines for 2 weeks when I was 10, nervous but excited. Miss Mary told us the most important rule: never ever go near the old abandoned cabin at the edge of the property. Of course, that made it the star of every ghost story around the campfire. On the last night, 5 older kids, 3 boys and 2 girls, snuck into the woods toward the cabin. We sang, roasted marshmallows, but I kept glancing at the dark tree line. An hour passed, then 2. Miss Mary's smile strained. Counselors started searching with flashlights, calling names. "Kevin! Sarah! Marco!" The calls echoed. No reply. Curiosity turned into gnawing fear. At last, flashlights returned. They weren't alone. The 5 kids walked single file, heads down, completely silent. In the dim light, their eyes were wide and empty, expressions blank, like they'd seen something horrifying. Morning. The camp buzzed with whispers. The 5 sat apart, not speaking, staring straight ahead. A mother hugged her daughter. The girl didn't react. Years later, I still think about that night. I never found out what they saw. The camp closed the following year. One detail always bothered me. Their shoes and cuffs weren't muddy from the woods. They were covered in fresh, wet dirt, as if they'd been digging. And there you have it, my little horrors. 3 sweet memories twisted into nightmares. A clown whose final trick was a curse, a lonely boy who wasn't lonely or even alive, and a secret at summer camp that silenced 5 curious kids forever. These stories remind us that fear doesn't always roar, sometimes it whispers. Are you sure you remember everything correctly? Are you positive there wasn't something off? Because once you start looking, you might be surprised at the creepy crawlies hiding in the corners of your past. Sleep tight, and whatever you do, don't let the bedbugs or anything else bite. Unpleasant dreams.